Welcome to the On Deck podcast for all your baseball DFS needs with your superstar hosts, fantasy baseball experts, Casey, Bubba, Bogman, and the Welsh. The On Deck podcast is brought to you commercial-free by LineStar app, the #1 top-rated data and analytics tool for daily fantasy sports.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the On Deck Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the wonderful people at LineStar Sports. Make sure you check them out on Twitter at LineStar App and at LineStar MLB to get all the great tweets and content they put out there, including home run calls, lineups, news, the works. I recommend checking that out. It's a great thing I have alerts on my phone for because it just gives me all the info all the time. So I recommend following them and also download the app. Talk about it all the time in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. It's everything you need in the palm of your hands, the value tools, the stack tools, the projections, the chat room, everything you can possibly need to build a winning DFS lineup. So I highly recommend checking that out. You can find myself on Twitter at BDentric. I have a special guest tonight because Bogman's lazy. No, I'm kidding. Bogman's moving to Texas, so he's gonna, he's doing stuff. He's not just sitting around. But I have another member of the LineStar family. If you're in the chat, you know him as LineStar Tyler. Tyler, how we doing, man?
I'm great, man. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to this. We talk via email all the time and everything, so I'm looking forward to I have a face to match to this now. Again, if you guys want to see what we look like, go to the LineStar YouTube channel. Go check all that stuff out. Give the old subscribe and the thumbs up there. But Tyler, I believe you wanted to mention a few things about the wonderful LineStar.
I do. We have some exciting things coming up. We are totally redoing the website, and we have a lot of new kind of features coming to it. Hoping to get that ready, before NFL. So it's right around the corner. We also have some nice promos coming out. One that we did actually just tweet out today with Thrive Fantasy. And so you guys can go to our Twitter there and you can get that link. And then it's also in the newsletter. So if you get the newsletters, it's there. But yeah, so we have some exciting things. We also have the NFL pre-snap podcast coming back with you and Bogman. That will be sponsored by Thrive. We're pretty excited to get it. We're gonna have 2 shows before the season starts. So as you know, and I'm sure you're starting to get ready for it and get excited.
Oh yeah, no, we're ready. Like we've been talking, and I said you need to move, Bogman. We have stuff to do. We have football to get going here. We're running out of time.
Yeah, I was cracking up with Bogman. I was like, so the Diamondbacks are making you so upset you had to move to Texas.
yeah, he's hoping the Bills move to Austin. That's what he's hoping for. I got that whole rumor because he needs something else to root for. But yeah, Bogman's he's going as far away as he can, at least to move back to Texas, where he's originally from. So yeah, it's a full circle thing for him. But yeah, it is pretty funny. I like playing with him, and especially like I said, when they're actually playing each other while we record, it's some of the best visual YouTube experiences you can have. People, I recommend checking it out. So
I'm very happy that the Giants aren't playing the Padres right now.
Well, we might have to make like a special episode later this season. But Padres, you guys are getting Fernando back. We'll talk about that later on in the episode. He's coming back, so soon he might be going your way. Yeah, hopefully
that September schedule is crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. It's going to be a great finish. It sucks that the wild card game is going to come down to 2 teams from the West. It's going to be brutal, really brutal in that regard. But we have 14 games on Friday. Big slate. Wrigley's out of the mix because they do their day game Friday, which is great. Good for them. But we have 14 games. So we're just going to get cracking here, Tyler, and let's go game by game as usual. And we'll kick things off here with Milwaukee at Pittsburgh. You have Brett Anderson versus Mitch Keller on this one. Keller's 57 on FanDuel. He's 69 on DK. Anderson is 66 on FanDuel, 72 on DK. This is going to be one of those games that looks a little ugly with an over-under of 9. Any interest in either pitcher in this game?
Not really. I know Anderson somehow put together a couple decent games lately, but I'm still not really interested. Not on a 14-game slate.
Yeah, no, I'm good with this. This is more of a bats game or almost a pass game. Like the total's 9. Keller's been getting hit a lot. The Brewers bats are white hot. So if you want to go Brewers bats in this, I'm with you. Any bats interest you on this one?
I mean, you can go with either offense here. Pittsburgh's cheap, which is nice. And like you said, Milwaukee's been hot.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's very cheap. That's why I usually like to tout them, and Bogman laughs at me. But hey, they're very, very affordable, and you can have some fun there. But the Brewers side of it, I check the lineup and see what they come out with. But your guys like Wong leading off, Adames is hitting everything. So I'd kind of circle Adames as my starting point. Let's put it that way.
He's been amazing ever since he got traded.
Yeah, he's been absolutely outstanding.
It's crazy. And then with our pitching on this slate, like we're probably going to need a cheap stack, if you're paying up. So Pitt could be there.
Yeah, they could switch hitting Reynolds. You got Newman and a few other pieces there. Like it's the one I say is you don't have to go all in on a stack, but maybe 2 to 3 man, just enough to get you the value and move on type thing. So that can go a big way. Speaking of pricier pitchers, we head to Philadelphia. Cincinnati at the Philadelphia Phillies. Zach Wheeler is 10-3 on DK. He is 11-2 on FanDuel. Tyler Mahle is 71 on DK, and he is 87 on FanDuel. Honestly, Tyler, I have no problem with either pitcher in this game, but I really like Zach Wheeler. He's near the top of the list for me tonight.
I mean, because with DeGrom being hurt, Wheeler's got to be top Cy Young candidate right now. Yeah, he's been insane all season, so can definitely go there. On DraftKings, 7,100 is way too cheap for Tyler.
Yeah, no, he's very, very cheap on this one. So I'm 100% with you on that. So I think Wheeler is one of my top options for sure. And the fact, like Mahle, especially out of Great American Small Park, I think he's valid in this one. Philadelphia still has them thumped. They got McCutchen back, which is nice, but Hoskins still being out. Rio Mito's questionable with the concussion. He passed the test, so he might be back on Friday, but still not 100% there. So I kind of think Mahle could be a cheap play, at least on DraftKings. Not sure I want to go there on FanDuel. Any interest in Mahle or any of the bats in this one?
Not really. I am kind of surprised. I thought that over-under would be a little bit lower. It's at 8.5, so there could be some offense here, but I'm not that interested.
Yeah, no, it's one of those games. Like it should be on paper a good pitching duel, or like I like to say sometimes there might be some offense, but a 4-3 game really doesn't do it for your stacks, especially not on a 14-game slate. Smaller slate, sure, knock yourself out. This slate, you need that team that's going to score 9, 10 points, run something like that. So look at that one, and you might find it in the Atlanta, Washington. I don't think so, but you might. You got Charlie Morton at $8,300 on DK. He's 9,000 on FanDuel, and on for the Nats, you have Josiah Gray, 81 on DK. FanDuel does not have him priced yet because they like to lag sometimes. They don't know who's pitching. But I think Charlie Morton, especially on DK at 83, it's kind of a value actually at 9K on FanDuel, but 83 on DK is a very good price for Morton for me.
Yeah, I love him at 8.3.
Yeah, I think it's a great play.
Either one, that's a great spot. And Washington's lineup right now is so watered down after all the trades. Yeah,
lots of swing and miss in that lineup right now. So that's what Morton does. He's the guy that I like because he'll give up a run or two, which happens, but he strikes out enough that he'll still get you like 20-plus points, and you're sitting pretty. So at 8,300, that's SB2 territory with like you could pair him with Wheeler and be sitting pretty if you want. But I don't think I don't want to attack Josiah Gray if that's who really is pitching. But any interest in any bats in this game?
I think you can go after Atlanta a little bit. Not super interested, but a small stack there is interesting, I think.
Yeah, you could look at some. Albies has been white hot, so that's definitely someone you can look at. And the thing with Gray, I like him. He still hasn't gone over 85 pitches yet, so you're going to get a lot of Nats bullpen, which we know is kind of watered down as well. So that's something to keep in mind, as you mentioned. All right, let's head to Miami on this one. The Cubs at the Marlins. We got Adbert Alzolay versus Jesus Luzardo. Over under 7.5, which kind of surprises me, to be honest, but I guess it's two rough teams. Alzolay is 76 on DK. He's 67 on FanDuel. Luzardo is 67 on DK, 65 on FanDuel.
Agreed. I'm out. Yeah. If I have to play one, I'd be Alzolay.
Yeah, at least you know he can go deep in a game if you need to. Luzardo hasn't shown he can go deep, and he hasn't shown consistency to just pitch well right now. So with that being, and it is the tempting thing, though, it is Chicago, who we know their offense as well. But with these kind of up and down pitchers, any interest in bats in this one?
I could go to either one. That over-under does scare me a little bit, but it's another one where it's kind of cheap, and your boy Lewis Brinson is still very cheap.
Oh man, like DK just can't get it figured out. It's ridiculous. And he's going up. Yeah, I will have a lot. Like I just keep playing him. I really do. And I laugh because even I tweeted it out the other day. It was on, was it a 4-game day slate? He was like 6% owned. The night before on the 13 or 14 games late, he was 0.9% owned. I'm like, he's 2K hitting cleanup against a bad pitcher, guys. Like this is the easiest value in the world. Will he produce every night? No, that's baseball. But a guy the way he's hitting right now at 2K, I'll take my chances more often than not. It'll pay off. So I'll go right back to that well. And it's even one of those where you don't have to stack Miami. You can really just play Brinson and walk away. Or you can put Brinson with like one other piece, have a 2-man stack, and there's all your value right there.
I mean, you could go Aguilar and Alfaro.
Yeah.
With a 3-man.
Super cheap. Like, I'd rather do that than the Pittsburgh one, personally.
Then what?
Than the Pittsburgh one we talked about.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so I think that's an angle to go, dude. No one ever rosters Miami. It's just like you could almost. No, we're not game stacking this game. Don't get me wrong, but even on the flip side, like Ortega's usually relatively cheap. He hits everybody right now, and you have a couple other pieces there. I'm not saying I love Chicago, but the way Luzardo's pitched, you could do worse. I'll tell you that much. I still prefer the Miami side, followed by Brinson. So yes, we will be a pro Brinson podcast once again. And until they figure out his pricing, it's going to be a pro Brinson podcast like every day of the week. So pretty fun stuff there. Let's head to New York, where pro anything is tough these days. The Los Angeles Dodgers at the New York Mets, and we are Julio Urias versus Tyler McGill over under 8.5. You got Urias 99 on DK. He's 10,000 on FanDuel. McGill is 86 on DK. He's 77 on FanDuel, and he has been struggling quite a bit of late compared to the way he started out the season. And that leaves me kind of off him tonight. Are you on either pitcher here?
At McGill's price, I'm kind of off him. Urias is a little interesting. He's been pretty solid all year. His K rate at his price, though, is a little scary to me, going against the Mets at least.
And that's the thing with Urias. Like when we've seen him be good, he's really good. The reason why it's like once in a while is he has to be super efficient. And that's what makes it very difficult for him. If he has like one bad inning, you're going to have a tough time paying off your value. That's the tricky part with him. Like he's a very good pitcher. They just don't let him go deep because A, they don't have to, and B, they need him. So
I mean,
it makes it tough.
The last 20 starts, his average is 88 pitches.
You guys want to know how Tyler figured that out? The LineStar app, people. I'm not kidding. Like I don't use it as much on the podcast because I'm not like that quick with it, like hands and stuff. But I've told people after the show or the next day and stuff, like I look at the values every day for the new thing. I look at like so many little things. It's pretty convenient. So
and
all that stuff.
And that little stat was one of our chat members asked me if we could add it, and I was like, "Hey, that is a great idea."
Yeah, it is.
And we had it added in like 5 minutes after that.
That's perfect. So see, come in the chat, do all the fun stuff there, and you'll get little nuggets like that. It's a great tool. Honestly, the baseball stuff's great, and I've said it before. I love the football stuff. Like especially, and we'll get back to baseball in a minute. But when you are looking for like your running back and they're facing certain, I love it to know what defenses to target because it'll show like how many points they give up on average, all that kind of stuff, and you can really kind of find some sleepy ones on that one. So I think it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah. One of the things I really like with the football is you can see the red zone stuff. You can see who's getting targeted in the red zone, who's getting the carries, and kind of build off that.
Yep. I love it. It's a really good tool. So might as well get it for the rest of baseball season and carry it into football, folks. So just go that. Hey, if you play UFC, I say they have every sport. So have fun. Back to baseball. Urias versus McGill. Any bats you're interested in on this one?
I could go the Dodgers. I'm probably staying away from the Mets, but that'd be it.
I'm with you. The Mets bats, it's like so tilting. Like even you think it'd be a good spot for Alonso, and if he went deep, no one would be surprised. But he's been ice cold. They've been so cold, and on a 14-game slate, I don't need to force it. They're like I'd rather force it with the value of Miami type thing. Like if I'm going to take a gamble, let's save some cash while we do it and have some fun with that.
Yeah, all right. The Dodgers could be low owned too. And it looks like it's going to be pretty hot in New York. So,
It's a good angle.
Yeah.
You
might have to pay down with pitching a little bit, though.
Yeah, Miguel's been struggling. Like I was saying earlier, is the guy's been great, but Strikeouts haven't been there. Lots of home runs. Bellinger's on fire. You got everybody in that lineup can hit. So just pick your poison, I guess, and see what you want to do. But it is a good call because they will be probably lower owned than usual for sure. All right, Baltimore at Boston on this one. We got Spencer Watkins versus Nick Pivetta. Over under of 11, folks. Here we go. Pavetta's 8K on DK. He's 73 on FanDuel. Watkins is 61 on FanDuel, 51 on DK. Watkins pitches to contact. Nick Pavetta's Nick Pivetta. I'm all about stacking Boston. Don't mind my Baltimore bats. What do you like in this game?
I mean, obviously both bats look great. Mm-hmm. I'm expecting Baltimore's ownership to be pretty high. They're a decent offense. They're super cheap. And Pavetta's Pivetta. Yep. He can be sneaky good too, though. He has those games. Mm-hmm. So if everybody's on Baltimore, I may stay away just because to fade that ownership.
And that's the frustrating thing because I think people are starting to realize in these matchups, like they played Detroit, and they're actually a lot more popular than usual. And I've been playing Baltimore all season. I've joked about buying Baltimore gear to wear on the show because people make fun of me for playing Baltimore all season because they're always cheap and they're productive and they play in Camden Yards where the ball flies. Like it's just a perfect matchup.
They steal bases too. It's not like, they're one of the teams that don't run.
Yeah, I stacked Santander and Mullins today. Mullins stole home and Santander stole a second in the first inning. There was 15 points. It was like, this is ridiculous. And that's just what they do. Santander is still $2,300. That dude's August is through the roof right now, what he's doing. So he's a great play. Mateo's cheap. DJ Stewart went deep twice. He's the bare minimum right now. Like you said, even Austin Hayes hit second. He's 2,400 on DK. Mullins is only 43. They were extremely cheap. So
everything.
Yeah, they're going to be very, very popular. On the flip side, though, the Red Sox are in a premium situation against Watkins. Like I said, pitch to contact guy. And so you got the usual suspects there. Like I think Devers obviously is a great play. You got JD. The one thing I'll mention, Kyle Schwarber is supposed to be back DHing. So keep that one in mind. His first game in Fenway, if you guys feel frisky in that sense.
Can he keep the hot streak going?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All I want to know is it was interesting because he went for like 2 rehab games. Like, yep, you're good. Let's go. I was like, okay, that was quick. So I'm not excited to go run him into my lineup, but it's like, if you're stacking Boston, it's kind of hard to leave the Schwarber bombs out and see what happens there. So will be quite interesting. All right, let's head to Detroit. Cleveland at Detroit on this one. Zach Plesac, Tyler Alexander, over under 9.5 in this game. You got Plesac 88 on DK. He's 72 on FanDuel. Tyler Alexander is 54 on DK, 55 on FanDuel. Honestly, I'm not interested in either pitcher. Are you interested in Plesac or Alexander?
No, Plesac's too expensive for me.
Yeah, and he's a contact guy again, too. So bad. Strikeouts are gone with Plesac. So, what bats interest you in this one?
Either side is pretty enticing to me.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like I said, the over-under was 9.5. You got a lefty and Alexander out there, so that just already gets Franmil Reyes large on my radar. They priced him up, though, so that's good on them. Like, for a while there, he was way too cheap in general, but they've moved him up the price. He's 34 on FanDuel, 53 on DK, so that's something. But I don't mind Cleveland for sure. As usual, Detroit's cheap, and Candelario's on fire right now. So that'd be a guy I'd have circled for my Detroit. Like, these are things that should never come out of my mouth, but it's true.
And Castro has some nice BV pitcher or batter versus pitcher data too, where he's hitting 400 against them and 11 at bats.
400. That's not too shabby. That's not too shabby, folks. So definitely something to keep in mind. Again, Detroit, as usual, you can put them right next to Miami, right next to Pittsburgh, right next to Baltimore as your cheap options and kind of pick your poisons in that one. All right, let's go to Texas. Oakland at Texas in this one. We got Cole Irvin versus Dane Dunning coming off the IL. Over under of 8. Irvin is 82 on DK. He's 88 on FanDuel. Dunning is 66 on DK. He's 76 on FanDuel. And Tyler, I'm a big Cole Irvin fan tonight for 2 reasons. He's been pitching well, but B, Texas is atrocious, especially versus lefties. If people didn't pay attention on Wednesday, I was all over Marco Gonzalez, and he threw a complete game, 1 run, got you like 40 DK points against Texas. Irvin got 20+ his last time out, so I'm all in on Cole Irvin.
I agree. Irvin's great. His price is decent. He's been pitching great recently.
Yeah, he makes.
What about Dunning?
I usually like Dunning. I'm gonna stay out of the way here. Like I don't expect the A's to score 17 runs again, like they did on Thursday. I'm not oblivious to that. but I don't know how long he'll go coming off the IL. And two, he's a ground ball pitcher, so if he starts elevating that pitch, it's going to get ugly in a hurry. So it's one of those I've said, like, there's certain pitchers, he's so cheap, at least on DraftKings as an SP2, if you want to get weird in the GPP, okay, I could see trying him out, but I don't think I'm going to force myself to get there.
Yeah, they've been babying him all year, and coming off IL, that's probably, another step of babying.
Yeah, and then you get that wonderful Texas bullpen behind it, so it makes Oakland pretty live in this one. If you guys like, Starling Marte's hitting everything, and then you got Matt Olson and company, like it's a very live situation.
Agreed.
On that one, St. Louis at Kansas City on this one. We get the return of Jack Flaherty heading into Kansas City, going up against Mike Minor, over under 8.5 in this one. Flaherty's 83 on DK. He's 10-1 on FanDuel. That's quite the great price coming off the IL there. Minor 64 on DK, 8,000 on FanDuel. I'm going to pass on both pitchers. I like Flaherty, but I don't know what they're going to do with him coming off the IL.
So Flaherty actually does intrigue me.
Okay.
He in his last start, he went 75 pitches. So that tells me that he could be, in the 90-95 area. And if he's getting that, with ownership probably staying away versus Kansas City, I think it's interesting.
Yeah, that's true. Like, would you pay the 10-1 on FanDuel or just the 83 on DK?
83 on DK.
Okay.
I'm staying away on FanDuel.
Yeah, that FanDuel price I was surprised by how steep that was. With all that being said, you got the Cardinals bats. They're just so inconsistent. You think they're going to break out. They do a few things, but nothing great. I will say DeYoung is swinging a very good bat if you want to value shortstop. As a whole, it's hard for me to stack them. Are you interested in stacking against Minor, just fading against Minor? What's your thoughts there?
Probably not. I saw Carlson went out with injury tonight too.
Yep.
So I don't know if he's going to be in the lineup. So that lineup could be a little bit more watered down than it already is.
Yep.
So I don't want to stack, but then I also don't really like Minor. So
yeah, it's a tricky one. It's one of those, and it's usually been hot and humid in Kansas City lately. So it just makes you wonder, like, should I have a couple pieces here or not? It's going to make it, like I always say, it's the cheap way out, but see what the lineup brings. You might get a couple like little stack situations you didn't expect to get that turn out to be pretty nice. Like I said, DeYoung is swinging it really well. So if he pairs up with someone like Arenado or company, maybe you get a mini stack out of it. All right, let's head to Minnesota. You got Tampa Bay at Minnesota in this one. You got Shane McClanahan going up against Michael Pineda, over under of 9. McClanahan 78 on DK. He's 95 on FanDuel. Pineda is 59 on DK. He's 7,000 on FanDuel. McClanahan's been outstanding lately. Are you taking a chance on him tonight?
Yeah, I like him. You're gonna call me crazy, but I like Pineda too.
No, Pineda's one of those GPP guys, especially at 59 on DK. Like that's like, I'm not playing him on FanDuel. Not a chance at 7K. Cool. Like there's other ways I go about that. But I'm with you on DK. It's like I was recommending Matt Harvey the other day, and Bogman's recommended him like 3 times in a row. Like,
look, he went 100 pitches last game versus Houston, so his pitch count's there. In his last 5 starts, his FIP is 3.45. Like he's been getting a little unlucky. Like there's a chance.
Yeah, there is. The biggest thing is, can he strike some guys out? Tampa Bay will strike out. Like they will. They're one of those teams.
Bay strikes out.
Yeah, you just got to like navigate the Brandon Lau home run because he loves facing righties, which you never know. Yeah. But as a whole, I'm with you. I see what you're saying, especially as an SP2 on DK in a tournament. I had no problem at 5,900. And McClanahan at only 78 on he's got to be popular, I think, at that price point.
Hey, so absolutely, he has to be popular. I'd say Pineda might be a little bit because 59 is just so cheap.
It's very, very cheap. The fact you kind of have interest in both pitchers, are you just off on the bats on this one?
No.
Okay, what do you got? So this is one of those old 4 true outcomes games.
Yeah, this is the one where if I'm playing multiple lineups, I'm probably going to have some of both pitchers and some of both bats. Probably not that much of Minnesota. That lineup is kind of watered down now as well, but I will have some Tampa Bay for sure against Pineda.
Yeah, Brandon Lau just want to use circle versus a right-handed pitcher. Just if you have your fun, he's expensive, so he comes in lower on than usual. So you got that going for you. But I will say the Minnesota thing, like if Garver, he's been scratched the last like 3 games, so he's hurt or something. But if he comes in there and you got like a Polanco, the thing is, and like a Sano, you're going for the gusto, so you might as well get all the home run hitters. But they're just not cheap. That's the only thing. So see what you want to do there. They'll come in super low owned, like extremely low owned.
And then back to Tampa, like Franco's starting to hit well too.
Big time.
Like they're interesting.
Yeah, no, I like that one quite a bit. I can see some promise there as well. All right, let's head Houston to LA, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, over under of 9 in this game. Zach Greinke going up against Patrick Sandoval. Greinke 85 on DK, he's 85 on FanDuel. Sandoval 73 on DK, he's 82 on FanDuel. Both these pitchers, I'd never Greinke. That's just traditional like any other. Sandoval's been good, and he actually pitched okay versus Houston his last time out. He's very cheap on DraftKings at least, so I have a little bit of interest there. What about you?
I hate going against Houston.
It sucks. It really sucks. You don't sleep well. You and I are both on the West Coast like this, so you have to actually know what. You can't go to bed and pretend it went well. Like it's not healthy for anybody.
Well, they see so many pitches.
Yeah,
it's so hard for your pitcher to go late in that game.
Yep, that's a very valid point, and they're not going to let Sandoval go too deep either. Like he's been getting innings. Don't get me wrong, but they're also going to protect his arm. So. Yeah, maybe that's a good point. There's enough pitchers on this slate. I'm just going to fade both pitchers here. So, interest on either bats?
Yeah. I mean, you could go to either side of this. Both the pitchers or whatever. More interested in Angels bats, but not super interested. Stacks with the Angels are hard.
Very hard, especially with obviously no Trout and company. Like honestly, this is pretty much just a stay away game for me. Is the way I see it. Like it feels like a 4-2 ball game or something, and it's just like like I'm good. It's not even too productive here. Yeah. All right, we'll go to San Diego versus Arizona. Going to the desert here in this one. Blake Snell, Madison Bumgarner over under 8.5. Snell's 84 on DK. He's 9,000 on FanDuel. Bumgarner's 75 on DK, 78 on FanDuel. Snell's a guy I fade all the time. He dealt last game against Arizona. He's pitched okay of late on the road. Bumgarner I've loved, but it is San Diego. Where do you stand on this one?
I hate Bumgarner. I'm not touching him. Multiple Padres have lit him up. Yeah. So a Padres stack I do like. Blake Snell I think is interesting. On the road does scare me a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, his last 2 road starts have been decent, which surprised me. But as a whole this season, not a recipe for success. Yeah. So I'll probably continue to fade Blake Snell. Again, it's a big slate. If it's a small slate, I might have to force my hand. But especially in that 8,400 price frame on DK, there's tons of 83 guys. We talk about 82s. Like, unless for some reason we see Blake Snell's like 5% projected ownership, okay, well then I'll have some Blake Snell. But he usually comes in popular too. Yeah, he comes in popular though. Like people still love Blake Snell. So it almost makes me want Arizona bats, to be honest, to be contrarian. But I like your San Diego angle. Who would you use on San Diego against Bumgarner?
I like Machado. Ray Cronenworth, I always like. Who else? There was some other guys that I saw.
Tatis might be back. Maybe. Slight chance.
I don't think he's going to be.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw some stuff today that he's getting close, but I don't think it's going to be yet. Maybe this weekend.
Okay. But yeah, you got like guys like Phams. Grisham actually hits lefties very, very well. Like very, very well.
Myers has hit Bumgarner
Myers
well.
owns Bumgarner. Even when he was a Giant, he owned Bumgarner.
Yeah, Hosmer's hot, and he hits Bumgarner. I think there's some ways you can go here.
And they're affordable, some of those guys, outside of like Machado. Even Cronenworth's been too cheap lately, but Myers is always cheap. Hosmer's always cheap right now.
Yeah.
So you could get in there. And the one thing I always say is like people like just the like novice players, they'll see lefty and avoid. So that's where I love guys like Grisham, Cronenworth, and even Hosmer. They'll all come in like much lower owned than they should be. So you could pair them up with the chalky Machado and it won't matter. And that's the beauty of it.
Totally. And I mean, it's baseball. It's like the variance is so high in every game.
100%. That's why I go back to my Brinson thing. Like I'll just keep playing him at 2K. People, he's hitting cleanup. He's one at bat's all it takes. So
exactly.
Like it's that crazy. Just one at bat, and we're sitting pretty.
Yeah.
All right, 2 more games to get to here. Again, if you guys give a rate and review on iTunes for the On Deck Baseball Podcast, we'd much appreciate it. And also, again, check out the LineStar YouTube channel. Give it a subscribe, a good old thumbs up there, and tell your friends about it. Because if it's not my internet or Bogman's internet or something, there's always something you can watch that you will not get by just listening to us, that you just laugh at. So it's really good stuff. I highly recommend it. 2 more games. Rockies at the Giants. Austin Gomber, Anthony DeSclafani returning from the IL. They said it wasn't going to be serious. He was back on the minimum, so I'm not too worried about him. You got Disco at 9K on DK, 84 on FanDuel. Gomber is 68 on DK, 83 on FanDuel. Like these prices, Tyler, Disco at 9K on DK, I'm kind of like, probably not. I get it. Gomber at 68 on DK. As much as I love my Giants offense, it's intriguing. But then you flip it over to FanDuel, and Disco at 84 kind of has my attention. So where do you sit on this one?
And Colorado away from Colorado.
Yeah, it's like, man, this is like they got a little bit of this is one of those, we always joke about it. There's certain games that are just so different on the sites. We're like, okay, he's not in play here, but he's 100% in play here. So what do you see with these pitchers?
I could see a little bit of Disco on FanDuel only. DraftKings definitely not. Gomber a little bit, but there's other cheap pitching options. Yeah. So I don't know how much I would get of them.
It's one of those, if you're let's say you're 20 maxing, I'd have like 2 Gombers. Like I would make sure to have some because he's been great. He's been really, outside of like the 1 or 2 bad starts, he's been very good, much better than a $6,800 pitcher. So I keep that in mind. It's just the Giants are healthy and they have a lot of righties, so that could be scary. But Disco's intriguing. I'm very, very intrigued with Disco. With that being said, any bats of interest for you on this one?
I mean, problem with San Francisco is they change out their players and pinch hit so much. It's so hard to stack on them.
Yep, 100%. Like Wilmer Flores, Darren Ruff, like they on paper are great plays in this game. Yep. Just know they better get it done in the first 5 or 6 innings because there's a chance that they could play the whole game. There's a high likelihood they don't. Like Austin Slater, very good chance he gets pinch hit for. So,
if you're multi-entering, you'll probably have some ownership leverage there where people aren't really playing it because of that.
Yeah, like the one that everyone will play, the 2, Posey and Bryant, they'll play the whole game. So you're fine there. And Crawford hits lefties fine. So those are like 3 guys I could tell you'll play the whole game. Other than that, you're playing with fire. So, but hey, it's a game we know that can go off. Last game of the evening for you, you got the Toronto Blue Jays at the Seattle Mariners. This actually looks like a kind of fun one, to be honest. It's Robbie Ray versus Chris Flexen, over under 8.5. Ray is 92 on DK, 10-7 on FanDuel. Flexen is 77 on DK. He's 75 on FanDuel. Flexen's been great at home. It's the Blue Jays, so I'll pass. But Robbie Ray, especially at his 92 on DK, I'm a big fan of.
Agreed. Yeah. He's probably my favorite pay-up option tonight.
What about him at 10-7 on FanDuel? Looks like you have Wheeler at 11-1. Where would you go there?
I'm probably going to still go to Ray.
Yeah, it's the discounts. It doesn't seem like much, but $400 with a guy in Ray's situation, and it's the old joke we used to make when I played NBA DFS a lot, and it does translate to baseball. The late night West Coast games are lower owned most of the time because people want to watch their guys play. Yep. So like you're going to get a Robbie Ray, an ace, in a matchup that on paper, like I'd say 80% of the time he dominates at very low ownership or lower than it should be. So I'm with you there. I say you can stack Toronto any night you want, and I always start it with Springer, Teoscar. So I'll back that one again if you want.
Yeah.
They're just too good. Like 20 max have like 2 or 3 stacks. Just do it because they're that good. But all right, that wraps up the 14 game preview as we always do on the show. Tyler, let's recap things real quick. Who are some of your top pitchers on tonight's slate?
Top pitchers, Ray, obviously Wheeler, Pineda for cheap, and Morton.
Yeah, I got Wheeler, Ray, and then you get that middle ground of Irvin and Morton that I'm a big fan of, and then maybe some McClanahan with, I like your Pineda call as well, and then I'm going to stare at Austin Gomber a lot. It's really tough for me. I shouldn't play him, but it's very intriguing for what he's done. Who are you stacking up on tonight's slate?
Stacking up against, I like the Padres. Yeah. Definitely like the Padres, which, I'm a Padres fan, but I rarely stack them.
Yeah.
But I like them. Milwaukee, we went over. I like that. Who else here?
Baltimore,
Boston.
Yeah.
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Although ownership-wise, I may fade Baltimore.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I like the Milwaukee call as well. San Diego's very live. And then you did mention the Dodgers could be a nice lower owned one. Don't mind that one. That could be interesting. That Detroit game against Plesac I like because people still love Plesac. He's not that good. And then Oakland going up against Dunning in that bullpen. Yeah. It does strike a nerve as well.
There's a lot of stacks on this slate.
It's the year of the stacks. Like you have like 5 good pitchers, and then all this. That's why the totals are always so high. It's pretty crazy. But what everybody waits for is the home run call of the day. That's why we make you wait till the end, so you have to listen to the whole show, because that's what, it's great like that. But you can check out LineStar on Twitter at LineStar app and at LineStar MLB, and you'll catch the home run call of the day. And this time it'll be from myself, Tyler, and Ryan Humphreys. So if you retweet the home run call, 3 lucky retweeters will be chosen at random to be paired with each one of us. And if our guy goes deep, you get some free swag. I've given out 3 things of swag this week, people. So I'm just throwing it out there. I probably won't do it on Friday, but I'm going to try my best, because that's like just ridiculously good odds. But Tyler, since you're the guest today, who is your home run call of the day?
I was actually going to throw it back to you, because you have to go second every single day. I have 2 different options, so if you take mine, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so you're gonna let me go first, because usually I okay, Bogman took this guy, so I'll go over here. For me, I'll let you have your Padres. I'll be very kind to that. But I will go to the Boston-Baltimore game, and like I said, going up against Mr. Watkins there, give me Rafael Devers going deep for Boston in that matchup. I'll go Devers for sure. Who is your home run call of the day?
I am going with Jose Ramirez.
I like it. I like that a lot. It's a great call as well. So I think there's 2 pieces of swag. We've been saying eventually this year we're getting 3. We're getting the 3-peat. We've been very close a few times. It's going to happen. So we're counting on you, Ryan, because we already got 2 here.
Let's get it.
So Tyler's got J-Ram. I have the wonderful Devers, and you guys are going to get some free swag. So make sure you tweet that when you see it. But as always, Tyler, thanks for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me. It was fun.
No problem, everybody. Remember, download the app in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, and enjoy your weekend of winning. We'll be back with you guys on Monday, but good luck on this Friday, everybody. This was the On Deck MLB DFS podcast.
Thank you for listening to the LineStar App On Deck podcast. Download LineStar app from the App Store or go to LineStarApp.com for all your DFS baseball needs. If you love the On Deck podcast, support Casey, Bubba, Bogman, and the Welsh by rating and subscribing. Good luck!